Hi my beautiful light beings. See, I'm back again with another video and a good channel message. Sending all the love light to the entire collective right now. I know energetically it's really thick, but I'm encouraging those of you who are definitely very sensitive to energetic shifts, all of my empaths, all of my healers, all of my light workers, anybody who is at this stage where we're extremely sensitive to the energies around us. Please take time to cleanse. Take time if you do not have to go outside, especially yesterday. Like, I felt that shit heavy and I was in the bed, honey. Like, it's really, really intense, and it's important that we don't fall into, you know, the energy harvesting thing of all of that. Y'all already know how it is around election time energetically. Am I gonna touch on that? No, because I don't operate within the matrix system, so therefore I do not allow systems to dictate my personal feelings, my personal views. I already know this shit is already pre-planned, pre-programmed, the whole 9 yards. So unfortunately, that is something that's not necessarily in our control. All your main focus needs to be is to continue purging, continue healing yourself, continue being at a state of love, light, energy, continue operating with compassion, continue operating with just a certain level of peace and a certain level of knowing that you are protected, you are taken care of, and that no matter what the illusion may be in our reality, it has, just know that your personal reality is always going to reflect what you are dealing with internally and what you are feeling internally. So if you choose to if you choose to absorb any of the low vibrational energy that comes with what's going on collectively, then you're going to miss out on this really sensitive time, because right now we do have a couple portals. The 111 portal was open up on the 1st, and then we have another one on the 11th that's coming up. So just make sure that you are just extremely mindful of just where your energy is. Take this time right now to just really, really, really release any last minute attachments, any last minute pains and sufferings and things that you that you need to process, any low vibrational emotions, anything. Process those things. All of your memories that are not serving your highest good, any of those traumas, anything. And I'm speaking from, again, a place of experience, because for the past few days I've been inside just really releasing a lot of suppressed emotions and things, just from triggered situations to just me tapping into my subconscious and really pouring into and addressing all of those things within my shadow self that I feel like needs to come on out in order for me to tap into, fully tap into the abundance of this new timeline, fully tap into the version of myself that I know that I am now. You understand? And I haven't even, this ain't even my final form. Like, I'm just at a point where I just relinquish control and I know exactly what needs to be done. All right, so today, one of those main things that I wanted to speak on is especially for the divine feminines. Like, don't get me wrong, divine masculines, I do understand that y'all go through the same thing too. So if it applies to you, just switch the role and all of that stuff, you understand? But this is addressing the karmic mother wound that I feel a lot of us as women we have to deal with, and it has a really deep effect on how we view ourselves, how we show up as friends, how we show up as mothers, how we show up as partners. So it's really important that we tap into that and we really face that aspect of self, because it determines how we move forward. And if we have any of those blockages, especially from a mother wound like that, it will prevent us from tapping into our highest and purest selves as divine feminines. It will provide a blockage. And it won't allow you to really be in the softest version, because you're still harboring some form of resentment towards your mother, when in actuality, understanding that the vessel who is your mother is not really the important factor here. It's about understanding the lessons with dealing with that kind of energy. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of us that have wonderful relationships with our moms. There's a lot of us that have great levels of communication. We've learned well. I love that for y'all. It's not a situation where I'm like, ooh, I wish that was me. And no, that's a beautiful thing. And the fact that you don't have to go through that lesson, it's consider yourself lucky, because it's not an easy road to take. So understand that when I'm dropping these messages, and there's certain things that Spirit drops on me, to certain topics that Spirit drops on me to talk about, it's because these are particular lessons that I've gone through personally, and these are the type of things that really needs to be spoken about, and truth needs to be spoken about on it, just because I know that my lessons and my testimonies is going to provide courage and some form of platform for you to feel comfortable enough to say, yo, someone else has gone through that as well. Someone else has dealt with the same type of things and someone is moving forward from it and is on the other side of that. So with that being said, I was led to be transparent and be as transparent as I can about my experience dealing with a karmic mother. And I hope that with this experience, that with this I guess story of my life, this aspect of my life, and what I had to do, the decisions that I had to make in order to move forward, I hope it helps. You feel me? Again, that's what all of these videos are about. It's not a situation where I'm here to look down on anybody, or I'm here to be like, oh no, you need that. It takes a while to heal from that. It takes a while to forgive, all of that. But the forgiveness aspect is extremely essential. Understand? Okay. So, the lesson that I've experienced dealing with a karmic mother is very simple. Like, I grew up in a very emotionally, spiritually, child. It was every type of abuse except physically, honestly speaking. And a lot of people don't understand that the worst kind of abuse, at least that I feel like when you wake up, is understanding that spiritual and mental abuse is really, it's a lot. It takes a lot to come back from. So my childhood just consisted of me simply being in the position of servitude. I didn't really have those mommy-daughter like moments at all. My mom was not affectionate in any type of way. She is very emotionally detached. And it got worse when I was about 9, 10, going on 10, and I spoke up about someone being sexually abusing my family. Because I chose to spoke up, because I chose to speak up, it completely shifted the way not only members of my family treated me, but especially my mom. And that's where the emotional abuse, the verbal abuse, all of that started come to find out though, within my awakening on a spiritual level, that the spiritual abuse started from when I was a little child, because my mother has the gift of sight, so she is able to tap into and see you know, who people are and what they think, what they have attached to them and things of that nature. My mom was able to do that for me, and it started just a long road of jealousy and envy. So it was a lot of things spiritually put into place. A lot of dark magic was put into place. And again, before I continue with this, please understand that if you are not awakened on that type of time to really understand how spiritual abuse actually takes place, how people will do spell work on you from a young age or whatever age, I need you to either have an open mind and sit and listen, or if this does not resonate with you, that's perfectly fine. That just means that you're not on that frequency and you're not ready to be able to understand and retain the information that I'm sharing. Understand? No hard feelings. It's totally fine. So so a lot of dark magic and spell work was done on me from a child to stop and prevent me from tapping into the version of myself that I am now and that I am continuing to evolve into, due to the fact that just due to who I am spiritually, what my rank is, what my divine purpose is, there was a lot of things that were set in place. Now, with a part of that, I was made aware that the agreement was that my mother had to ensure that I was mistreated, ensure that I was not, that I had very low self-esteem about myself, that I did not value myself, that I did not believe in myself, for me to not view myself as someone of worthiness. So therefore that's when a lot of that stuff started. And then especially when I was vocal about just wrongdoings within the family. It started a whirlwind of just shit. Understand? I'm not gonna go crazy into like different stories or different moments of things like that, but I do think that it is essential that people know like the reality of what's going on, and how it actually has an effect on you stepping into your highest self. So I didn't have any type of emotional connection to my mom. It just started with a lot of just, it was a lot of name calling. It was a lot of shame. It was just a lot of me being kind of forced to go out into the real world on my own to just get basic answers for life. So for me, like I didn't have like any girl talks about my period. I never was talked to about boys. There was no womanhood conversations in my childhood growing up. I just had to go out into the world, and obviously when you go out into the world and you're a being of light, it's nothing but shadows. So I'm just in the shadowlands, just like trying to find my way, which obviously made me an easy target in regards to predators and things of that nature. So just being the type of person where I was sexually abused when I was younger, when I was a child, it led to, and then not having any type of support or guidance, because it was something that, give me a second. Yes, so unfortunately I was pretty much put in a position where I had to really fend for myself on a life lesson kind of thing. I wasn't given any guidance or anything like that. All I remember, like core-wise, was like, even just, because I'm from the islands, I'm not from America, just growing up on the islands, always being the one like in servitude, like, you know, and it was just more so me in training, and it was just always, oh, well, one day when you get a husband, you have to learn how to cook for your husband. One day when you get a husband, you have to learn how to clean your house for your husband. One day when you get a husband, you have to learn how to do this for your husband and do that for your husband. And it was always just that. So I was pretty much like programmed essentially to be like, not a slave in that sense, but like just always programmed to always be in a state of servitude. So a lot of my worth and my value that stemmed from the people pleasing and the seeking validations and things of that nature, that stemmed from me always being in the position of servitude, just always having to do something, always having to show up, always having to thing, because that was the only time that I would receive any form of like affection or love or just any kind of acknowledgement from my mom. So that started just a long life of me, again, being outside and literally being influenced by the worst things. Like, and I would ask my mom questions. I would try to get to know her. I would try to understand her life, maybe get a story or two, and I never got anything from her. Instead, I was shamed for a lot of things. Man, it's tough because it's not tough because it's not a place where like, oh my God, I haven't processed from it. It's just you know, once you choose to forgive and you kind of like try to release things, you don't necessarily want to talk about it because you want to move forward. But yeah, it was really rough. My mom, it wasn't a situation where I understood. So my whole life, like up until a few years ago, like it was just always on like, how can I fix it? And how can I be a better daughter? And how can I strive? And I always felt horrible because I knew that the things that were being said to me where it wasn't right. And I'm not gonna lie, it really turned me into like, between like me getting bullied, me having to suppress being bullied because my mother didn't believe me, me having to kind of just deal with a lot of things that I was dealing with from the world internally, and then having to and also internalize the things that I was dealing with at home. I started being depressed from a very young age, and that depression was often expressed as anger. I was very angry, and that made me be labeled as a problem child, because the anger was really just me seeking some type of attention. So that's where it got to the point where because I didn't get any form of attention at all, I figured that fuck it, I'll just be angry and y'all will look at me, and that'll be the only time that the family ever paid any attention to me or even looked in my direction really, was when I was quote unquote being bad. But yeah, it was just a lot of just me being called worthless, me being told that, you know, I wouldn't amount to anything, and just me being told that I served no purpose time and time again, being told how much of a whore I was, and yeah, it was just so many different things that have transpired in regards to my mother, in regards to the relationship. And you know, I tried. That's the bottom line of it, because again, I don't want to go down that lane, because as you can see, I kind of space out sometimes, and it kind of creates a level of disassociation, but I am being obedient to source, because I think that a lot of divine feminines right now are trying to navigate through that, and I just want you to know that it's okay to let go. It's okay to let go. it is okay to say that this is not good for me, because it really placed a major toll on my mental health. It placed a major toll on my self-confidence, how I showed up in the world. It takes a lot of deconditioning and reprogramming. So I mean, I want to say this year was probably the real first year that I can say that I didn't allow like the subconscious programming of dealing with that kind of abuse for a very long time to affect how I show up to the world and how I show up for myself. I am way more confident now because I chose to step away from my mom. And I learned a major lesson, even trying to extend an olive branch. Like, it just didn't work. It's never going to work. And I had to accept that. I had to accept that, Sam, you don't have a mother in that sense. Like, yes, I do have a mother in the sense of she gave birth to me, and she made sure that my needs were taken care of as far as shelter, food, clothing. But other than that, we don't have anything because of not only the verbal abuse, but also the level of spiritual abuse that I've dealt with. And a lot of people won't believe my story. That's fine, because, you know, my mother is very good at what she does. And most of my family are like members of the clergy of the church. So she's an elder, so it's very easy for her to spread the lies that she did, because even up to now, she has everyone under the impression that I am just completely mentally unstable. That was the whole thing, was that I'm mentally unwell and that I'm just going through all types of dark things and all of this thing, when in actuality she was doing a massive amount of spell work to block my finances. She was doing spell work on my love life to ensure that I would not have any partners of substance. She was doing spell work on my friendships. She was doing spell work on any time that, and I noticed it, anytime that I would tell her something's happening, or she obviously, because she had her gifts, she would know ahead of time what would happen for me. And I noticed how like all of these different opportunities and doors would open, and then all of a sudden something would happen, or no one would support, or just different things. She did glamour magic. So that it would present the illusion that I was completely unattractive to people. People would treat me horribly, and I would try my best to like speak up about it, and it would fall on deaf ears all the time. So I decided, for my safety and for my well-being, to let it go. And the reality of the situation is that I was crying so much because I couldn't understand why I had to endure what I did by myself. Because again, I'm telling you guys the really, 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 really watered down version of the dynamic between my mother and I, for the sake of time. But just to get the grand scheme of like what it is for real, when you go through that process and you realize, oh snap, not only did I not realize, I realized on a mental level, like, okay, cool, she's clearly a narcissist and all of that, but that's just on the physical plane. But on the spiritual plane, yeah, my mom is very well versed in dark magic, like very well versed. And what better way to hide that reality than to play a role in the church? Because no one's gonna believe that the elder or the person at church who is super sweet to everyone else is absolutely horrible to her daughter. So I want y'all to know why it's important, because, you know, it's important because I've gotten to the point where I wanted to, where I've actually attempted to remove myself from this physical plane. This was back in 2013. I remember I was dating a guy my mother didn't approve of, and one night she came home and I came home, and I remember her telling me how worthless I was and that I was such a disgrace to the family and how I just would never amount to anything, and that and she asked why I couldn't, she didn't understand why I couldn't be like the girls at the church and all of that. And the following day I just couldn't take it anymore, and that was the time that I attempted to, I swallowed a lot of pills, and I ended up having to be rushed to the hospital. And I had to spend a few days, you know, in rehab, obviously, for recovery and things of that nature, only to find out that she told everyone that I tried to remove myself due to a man. So to this day, no one really knows that aspect until now. But I do think that it is important for me to release these stories and speak on this, because it did a lot. It created a lot of arrested development within myself. So I don't know what it's like to have a mom, if that makes sense. I don't have any like emotional connection to her, so she's pretty much like kind of not dead to me in the sense of like physically, but emotionally, spiritually, we have no form of attachment, because I cut that cord. I released any desire to try to, you know, seek her approval, seek her validation, to even seek her love, because the actual reality of the circumstances is that there is no love there. And it's tough because essentially I grew up without both of my parents, because again, I'm from the island, so my dad is not physically here. So trying to navigate through life, especially through your awakening, without having any parents, you do feel a lot of anger. I had to go through, and I still am, I'm purging, because I am releasing the desires that I have for my story to be seen, to be heard, and for me to be believed. Because the reality is that my truth is my truth. I can't sit and fake my reality. I can't try to sugar it down. I can't water it down or anything like that. It plays a major part into why I am completely isolated. And well, that I know that's for my protection, from source to me, was to put me in isolation so that things can be cleared out. And in isolation, a lot was revealed to me just about the intentions of my family, and things of that nature. And that's not sitting here saying that, oh my God, like I didn't do anything and I was just a perfect child. No, like a lot of the way in which I perceived life, it did affect the way I showed up as a person. But I was in such need of love, and I didn't get it from anyone really. Like I was tolerated. My presence was tolerated. So I don't know. The reality is that I don't know what it's like to be loved by my family, because that is not what my experience is. I don't know what it's like to be loved by my mother, because that is not my experience. And it's not something that I would say is an easy road. But because of what my purpose is, I had to take my personal emotions out of it and look at it from a higher perspective. I am a shadow healer, and in order for me to fully do my job, I had to endure some serious psychological warfare and spiritual warfare from a child. So I had to learn how to navigate life with the treatment that I received, with my experience, with the lessons, because now I understand why Source allowed it to happen. I do understand that it made me a much better person, in the sense of it made me a much better person. It made me understand why I have to show up to the world in that way, and why I need to show up to even my own children in a much different kind of way. So yeah, I am here to encourage y'all that it's hard, but it is freeing. It is rewarding to let go. It is, it's not easy. There are times that I've been in situations where I've cried out for my mom, or just a mom. So I kind of spent most of my life like attaching myself to like my friends' moms. Because, you know, I try to get maybe a little bit of what that energy feels like to have a mom. But yeah, take the time to do the shadow work on that. That is a wound that is very deep, and you will have bouts of grief, anger, and you will feel resentment. But even me doing this video is me continuing to free myself even more, because I am choosing to relinquish control and to release any type of spiritual attachments that we may have. So if you have had this awakening and you are at this level of consciousness to where you can take your personal self out of it and detach from it, and just see from a higher perspective why they played the role that they played, how it affected you, how it was here for character building, how it really gave you the thing. It helped me really just face the world without fear, because the worst things that have happened to me in my life happened was from the person who was supposed to be here to protect me and to offer guidance and things of that nature. So I hope that this story, I hope that me sharing different parts of my experiences is not taken as, oh, this is a pity party, because I don't give a fuck about that, y'all. I'm good. Like, I'm healing, I'm cool, like, I am not that angry, scared person anymore. I don't live for the servitude of others anymore. I don't seek the approval of others anymore. And that's the beautiful part of that, is that I never became the version of myself that her and my family intended for me to be. I fought through that and I overcame that, and that is something that I am always going to be extremely happy about. So take the time to do this shadow work, y'all, and that could be anything, you know, meditation, do journaling, go to therapy, y'all. Like, really take moments and like cry it out, you know what I'm saying? Feel the anger, process the pain, process the grief, and know that you're okay if you let it go. And if it becomes too much, then just ask, literally, call on the divine, call on your ancestors, call on whoever's a part of your spiritual team, and really ask for them to help you release the stronghold that a mother wound has over your heart. So, and again, this applies to men as well, because I know that there are a lot of men who did not receive the nurturing aspects of their mother. I know that there are a lot of men who had enabling mothers, and their relationship is super toxic and unhealthy. So take this time and evolve. Understand that you are not what you went through. This is not my identity. This is not your identity. I'm me. And I get to be me. Like, without the restrictions, and without the judgment, and without the shame, and without any of that. And I don't even wish ill will. I wish that, you know, hopefully it's not too late for her to heal or to grow, but I don't have anything to contribute, because I realize that the intentions will never be that she will love me, because she just doesn't, and that's okay. So yeah, I hope this message can free someone. And I hope you know that it is greener on the other side. It's much better. You don't have to fret. And you will get there. Okay? I love y'all so much. And I will tap in with y'all in the next video.